Welcome to Reflections, a program where we discuss values and virtues for the transformation of the individual and the society in general. I am Father George Ehusani, and I have with me in the studio today my old friend Daniel Kwen. Daniel Kwen, we knew the choir, right?
Yes, in
music.
Yes, in St. Charles Borromeo in Lagos.
St. Charles Borromeo in Lagos. Oh, okay. And then we got to know in Asokoro.
I became operational again
and then Daniel is presently a director in the Resource and Planning Commission of Makurdi Diocese. Daniel is from Way West local government area in Benue State, even though he lives in Makurdi, and he's witness to all these issues in Benue State. Daniel is here at Terra to attend a training program to not only become gatekeepers of peace, to work towards mitigating violence, to work towards peaceful coexistence, to learn skills of interreligious dialogue, and see what they can do under the present circumstances, see what they can do to reduce the violence that is so recurring in that place. Daniel, it's a pity that in recent times we had almost 200 people massacred in Yelwata. I know you have been involved in that. I'm just hoping that the exposure, the training that you and your colleagues who are here from Makurdi and from local government, I am hoping that it will be of use when you go back towards promoting lasting peace. What is the environment like? What is the mood of the people in Guma local government where Yelwata is, and in Naka, Way West where Naka is, where you are from? What is the mood of the people after all these killings and massacres between 2014, 15 and now? So what's the mood of the people?
Thank you, Father, and I'm very pleased to be here.
Yeah.
Speaking about the mood can be drawn in two perspectives. I'll look at the mood before now and the mood following the attack in
the recent attack
in Yelwata. Before now, certain communities have been perpetually under attack.
Some communities perpetually
under attack. There are certain communities in Gwe West and in Guma that people have not lived, no human being has ever stepped foot in for the past 10 years.
You mean their village, their own village?
Yes.
They are not able to return there?
Yes.
For 10 years?
Yes. And some even counting more. Let me paint you a scenario. I remember in 2023, I lost a friend. Of course, he worked with you, Barrister Mike Usaha.
Yes.
It took the deployment of military troops, and I mean military troops that because they were massive. You know, Mike's immediate younger brother is a general. Yes. Senior. So, in fact, during the mass, the Requiem Mass, the Bishop of Makurdi Diocese announced that place is not accessible. So he advised people. The advice was out of concern that they needed not attend the burial. They should allow the family, led by security forces, get to the village and bury.
You mean the late Mike's village is not accessible?
It's not up to now. So,
and there are a number of such villages?
Quite many. So when Mike's brother came to speak, to respond on behalf of the family, he announced publicly that the village is safe as far as that burial was concerned. So everyone who wanted to go and witness the final interment of Mike should go. We went to the village, driving for over 1.5 hours. When you already get to Guma, to drive into the village took us more than 1.5 hours. Throughout that stretch of road, Father, all we saw were cow dung, prints of cow movement. You will see that they graze in the entire vicinity. You see the nature of the grass, you know that they graze consistently. Those were the only things we saw. no human being in sight. Some of the villages we passed, we were using the hillocks of the Resource and Planning Commission. So we got to a junction that connects one village called Ukpiam that also has been under attack. We got to that point and we slowed down, and then we started hearing like things were falling on the vehicle. And we tend to saw that the boys in that village were climbing on the vehicle, climbing on into the truck. So we wanted to ask them to calm down. Then I overheard one of them say, in our language, it is an opportunity for us to go and see our village today. I have not been there for 8 years. So we allowed them.
So people jumped on your truck in order to have opportunity to go and see their
village that they have not visited for 8 years.
You guys had a military escort.
Yeah, there was military deployment all around that area. So as we were going, we will pass certain communities that existed before. You would think they are forests
because nobody
had been there, and all the buildings were destroyed. Some the roof, the zinc was removed completely. They removed the wood and left with them. They were pointing fingers, Father. That's my compound. That's my compound. When you turn and take a look, there was nothing inside. Now, more interesting was the fact that when we got to Mike's village, Gongo, you know, Mike's father is a retired judge.
Justice, yes.
His house had been destroyed many times. They will destroy it, the attackers. They will go and raise it again, they will destroy it. Now there is no building standing in that village. We felt like Mike was being laid in the bush. Because we kept him. After the burial, the military still hung around. Some were leading, some were behind until everyone left, and that was how Mike was abandoned. So this is a situation with many of the communities in local governments that have been under attack, particularly the riverine ones. You know, that's why it flows down from, you see, Logo being affected, Guma being affected, Gwewes being affected, Agatu, you know, and in Gwewest. In fact, this crisis started in Benue. It started in Gwewest. There were talks of...
That's your own local government.
Yes, that's where I come from. But my part of Gwewest, which is called Rav, I'm from the same part with the Bishop of Makurdi Diocese, Bishop Anagbe.
Yes.
So that part had never been under attack. So even when the Makurdi Naka road was no longer accessible, at a point people stopped plying that road because you must be attacked. On daily basis, people were killed on that road. So people will leave Makurdi, drive to Aliede, pass through Taraku, and drive into Naka.
Make a roundabout turn
into Naka, and driving through my village to Naka. As we speak now, even that road through my village is no longer accessible. Nobody is living in my village.
No, it's not accessible because how? I mean, you mean the security agencies don't know these facts you are telling me, is it? Or they are just not able?
They do. This year alone, more than 100 have been killed in that part of Gwe West.
More than 100 people?
More than 100. If you put the figures together. For some of us, our thinking is, you know, early this year, the bishop was in the US, the Bishop of Makurdi, and made a presentation before the US Congress on religious persecution around the world. And we think that presentation sparked a reaction. The same way the elders reacted towards the open grazing prohibition law. You know, if you notice in 2018, the attacks escalated after the law was put into force. They resisted it, and on account of that, there were massive attacks. So we take it that the attacks that opened up in my area were in protest to.
So what are the people, the Benue people, the Benue intelligentsia, the leaders, the politicians, what are they doing to stem this? Because I don't believe that the Nigerian military, Air Force, Navy, police, civil defense, DSS, DIA, all this together, I don't believe that the invading headsmen or what do you call them, terrorists, I don't believe that they can overwhelm our security forces. So why is there what appears to be an unwillingness to confront the invaders?
Father, I don't know if you are aware, but all military formations in Nigeria have presence in Benue.
I know there is a Air Force
Tactical Air Command.
Yes.
Is there. We have two big army barracks. The School of Army Engineering
is there.
It's in Makurdi, and then there is the 72 Battalion is there, and only the Navy was absent. But in the last about 10 years back now, a naval unit has been established in Makurdi. Now you ask what the politicians, the leaders are doing. Before this government, Suswan made a few efforts. His approach was some sort of a mediation effort involving both the Benue people and the elders. So there were committees that were set up that the membership cut across Benue indigenes and the elders, and they became vanguards and watchmen, on their sides. So whenever there was a problem during
they communicated.
Yes, they came to the table, mediated, identified their own who had perpetrated whatever it was that was the offense, and then they will settle, and then payment will be made. And it was like that on both sides. So that was how Suswan was able to manage the crisis. Under Utom, in my opinion, Governor Utom was not very strategic about it. He only made a lot of noise. Fulani everywhere. So, and that pitched him against the presidency. So he struggled with it alone. He enacted the open grazing prohibition law, which again was more or less the initiative of a civil society. And initially, the government did not buy into it. But I think at the end, he saw value in it when he realized that he had fallen out with his political allies. And he saw that the people, he had to align with the people in order to kick a second term. So that was how he came back.
So with the the prohibition of open grazing,
yes,
then the crisis intensified.
Yes, the intention was not to intensify the crisis. It was meant to address the crisis. But the elders were not comfortable with certain provisions in the law. For example, the law established what is called the livestock guards. And these livestock guards themselves became a problem for the implementation of the law. The cases we have recorded were such that they impound cattle, 50 cattle for instance. The owner comes back to pay and claim his cattle, only to find 30 or 35. So they come back sometimes specifically to attack that particular livestock guard. And by the time they return and don't find them, they unleash terror on the entire village. But this was happening later on. Initially, their resistance was against the law itself from day one. They felt they were not given much time for sensitization. They asked for more time. The government gave only 6 months. After that, the law was put.
So it's a very messy situation and a very sad one. Let's get back to, so you are here along with others, 15 people from Logo local government, 15 people from Makurdi local government, and you have been, this is the end of the second week of your training program. What are some of the elements of the training that you consider useful as you go back?
Father, like I said earlier when we were having one-on-one before the session started, this is the most impactful training I have received recently. And most striking for me is the understanding of forgiveness. You know, long-held grievances largely have been responsible for
some
this
of the
protracted violence, particularly the one involving the farmers and the herders. Of course, let me mention this. In Benue, I believe, and I believe so because I had led a research a number of years ago that documented this crisis. And I can tell you that there are several narratives. So the problem in Benue is not only of farmer herder. There are other issues as well. Like you have the issue of their banditry. There are a militia in some part of Benue. I'm sure you are aware of what has been happening in Katsinala area. I think 3 years ago, Ghana was murdered. I'm sure you knew him, you know. So, but the one that appear to be most prominent is the farmer herder crisis. So, and it is a product of long-held grievances. I believe that with the spirit of forgiveness, especially drawn from the religious point of view, as a significant part, almost 100% of Benue is shared between Christianity and a few traditionalists.
Yes.
The Muslims are very few. So, my approach and understanding in the deployment of this training is in two ways. While we engage in our various communities and religious communities and do step down and engage in peace promoting initiatives, I think that we need to start engaging in peace education. After the first round of the training, I went back. My activities, I may share the pictures with you later. My activity, 2 of my step down sessions were in schools. One was in the university. I went to the Benue State University, the Father Alia University now. I had a presentation with them. And the Saturday before I left, I also had a presentation in a secondary school. There was a choir day program that brought over 400 participants across different schools. There were school administrators, there were principals, students.
So what did
teachers.
You do with them? Yeah.
So I spoke on the imperative of peace education so that we begin to nurture and build a culture of a sense of peace at a younger age so that people grow up. If you go to the Middle East, they grow up with a culture of violence. Children grow up like that. So if we, at our own end, we learn to imbibe a culture of peace so that our children, as they are growing with a sense of peace.
And not just continue the violence.
We believe that gradually in the future, the narrative will begin to change.
And now, like you said, you are going to add forgiveness as a tool.
Yes.
For this peace education.
Yes, Father. But I'm afraid because hearts are really angered. When I think about the timing of this training, well, of course, we started before the Yelwater massacre occurred. So the initiative was to address a long-standing problem. And in the middle of it
got worsened.
Yes. When we go back, even though we believe from this training that it is more important and more productive to pursue peace, it will be difficult for us to pass that message of peace
to your people
at this time. But we will try, beginning with small groups, gradually. And this is where, but the good thing is, this is where we will see the effectiveness of the fruits of what we have received here. Because under a more difficult situation to pass that message, what are we going to do? These are the things that we need to think
clearly,
about.
This means that the training could not have come at a better time.
Yes, I believe so.
And that, and all of you who are attending the training, you are leaders. They're pastors, they're religious leaders, men and women from different parts of those local governments.
Yes.
So, you are people of influence. I am not saying that you just go one day and say, oh, everybody forgive and everybody will forgive. No, it will take time. It will take efforts. So clearly, I don't envy you people because you have work to do. And the people you are going to meet in your churches and in your communities have not attended your 2 weeks training.
Yes.
So we don't expect them to clap for you when you start talking about peace, when you start talking about peace education, when you start talking about forgiveness.
Some may call for your head.
Some may call for your head. What is this man saying? Yeah, but you know, a journey of 1,000 miles, you begin with a step. And I'm happy that you already started before even coming for the second course. And we can only pray that the good Lord will assist. And in addition to preaching peace to the people, the other part of the assignment is organizing in order to get the government to do what governments are supposed to be doing, meaning protecting the innocent against the aggressor. The people who were attacked on that day in Yelwata, it was 15 minutes past 10 p.m. Most of them were sleeping.
Yes.
So we take it that they were innocent victims.
Yes.
So who is supposed to, for us to be able to sleep with our 2 eyes closed, we need government.
Yes.
That will make sure that we can sleep.
Yes.
And the same government says individuals should not just go and acquire weapons. Therefore, the government has the number one responsibility to protect lives and property so that you can go safely to your village.
Yes.
So that if an old person dies and we are taking the corpse to the village, we don't need a detachment of military people to go to our village.
Exactly.
So it means we have work to do, religious work to do, and political work to do.
Yes. And I think that work has to take different forms because currently we developed a post-training module that we are going to deploy. And I actually worked on it. And one of the things we have proposed to do is to engage in an interfaith, to set up an interfaith peace coalition.
Committee, yes.
That will involve, in Benue, we don't have many Muslims. You just find them. Basically, there are a few in one small Hausa quarters in North Bank, and then small one in Wurukum and small one in Wadata. So we don't have much of religious crisis in Benue. We've had some tension.
I mean, if you have 99% of people Christian, so you can't have so much religious crisis.
Yes.
It is more of this header, farmer, and invading bandits and terrorists.
Yes, but people living within those enclaves that are populated by Muslims, you find that sometimes, from time to time, there's a bit of tension. You know, so I understand from this training that violence erupts when you allow grievances fester and last and sustain and develop.
Things just get worse.
Yeah, and grow and escalate.
Yes.
So with this initiative, we are expecting that there will be engagements, there will be meetings, collaboration, and joint programs that will help to bring about understanding of one another.
Yes.
Secondly, we are considering a model that will partner with the media. So we are looking at having social media messaging and radio and TV programs in such a way that we'll partner with with some media organizations, and they may give us air time without asking for us to pay, even if it's only 30 minutes,
Yes,
so that intermittently those programs go on.
Definitely, we have to pray for the success of whatever initiatives that you people put in place in those various local governments. I have been speaking with Daniel Kwen, who is the Director, Resource and Planning Commission in Makurdi Diocese.
And Director of Planning.
Director of Planning,
in
yes.
The Resource and Planning Commission.
Yes, Director of Planning in the Resource and Planning Commission of Makurdi Diocese. And we have been speaking about what will be the fruits of his training, along with some 29 others that have come to Terra to train, for 2 weeks on becoming gatekeepers for peace, on building bridges, on promoting sustainable peace in Benue, but also in Nasarawa and Plateau states. And we just pray that all these efforts will yield lasting results, so that we no longer hear enough is enough of 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 people dying senselessly in our country. May the good Lord, who is the Prince of Peace, may he guarantee peace in Benue State.
Amen.
And I pray that soon, in God's own mysterious plan, soon, that all of you will be able to go to your villages when you want to go to your villages in a better country. And part of achieving that is also to work towards better leadership at all levels in our country.
Certainly, Father.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Father.